In the last video, we have seen how to fetch data from database, and we have printed that data in this console window. But this time, uh, what we'll do is in this database, what we have four records. I want to add one more record, which is roll number 5, and the name is Navin. Now, in order to do that, what we need is we again need those 7 steps. So we'll say import java.sql.star, and then here we'll go for the first step, which is class dot second step, which is class dot for name, in which you have to provide the driver name, which is com.mysql.jdbc.driver, and then we'll say we have to get the object of connection. So we'll say connection con equal to driver manager dot get connection. In this, you have to pass the three parameters. First is your connection string, which is JDBC colon MySQL colon double slash localhost colon 3306 slash database name, which is data flare. Now you have to provide the username, which is root, and the password we are using here is, let's say, 0. Okay, we need a connection, we need a query, so we'll say string query. Now, the value which I want to insert is, let's say the value will store in first term variable, so we'll say sname, a string sname is equal to, let's say, Navin, and int roll number is equal to, let's say, 5. I want to store this data in the database, so we'll say string query. To insert something, will require insert into the table name is, it's your student values. Now we have to say in this double quotes, in this we have to provide in single quote Navin, comma, then we have to say it is 5, right? But since we are using a variable name, instead of typing Navin here, what we can do is we can use this single quote. Then we have to use a variable. That's why we'll end it here, and we'll again open it there. And here we'll say it is sname. So this sname will get resolved to give you Navin, and it will come inside this single quote. Now, once you got with the single quote, again we have to provide a double quotes to end this. We'll say plus, instead of 5, we'll say it's a roll number, plus double quotes, it ends. So this query eventually will be insert into students' values, Navin in the single quotes, comma, 5. Now, in order to execute this statement, what we need is, let's create object of statement. So we'll say statement st equal to con dot create statement, and then we'll execute the query. Now this time, instead of going for execute query, we have to say st.execute update. So we have something called as execute update here, which will ask you for a string, and the string we are using here is again a query. Simple, right? And that's it. Let's close this. So we'll say st.close, and we'll say con.close. So let's say if it's working or not. So we'll say right click, run as application, and it's done, I think. So let's go here in this MySQL. Let's again fire the query, and you can see we have Navin and 5. Now let's insert a new data. We'll say this time it is Mohit, and the roll number is 6. Now if you want to insert Mohit and 6, but if you observe it here, let's say you have 10 records, or if you have 10 columns, you have to again say plus a double quotes plus variable name plus double quote, single quote, right? So it's very hectic to use this type of things because it might generate an error. So what we can simply do is, since we don't know the value, so here we can specify, I don't know the value, but I know the query. So I don't know the value, I know the query, which is insert into students values, question mark, which means Currently, I don't know the values, but what I know is the query, and we'll update that value later. So this is possible with the help of prepared statement. So we can use this concept with the help of prepared statement. And here, instead of using create statement, we have to say it is prepare statement. Okay, and this prepare statement initially will ask you for query. In case of statement, you pass the query when you execute it. But in case of prepare statement, you have to provide the query when you create the object of prepare statement. And that's why it's called as prepared statement. Now you can change this question mark using, so we'll say st dot. To change the first question mark with sname, we'll say set string. The question mark number is 1 and the data should be sname. Then we have st dot set int because the second thing is integer, second question mark, and here it will be a roll number. Clear? And then you can say execute update. It looks more proper or efficient than the previous example in which you have specified a double quote, single quote, all those things. So it will reduce the bugs. It will make sure that you don't have any error. So if you run this now, so if you say run as application, so let's go to your Java MySQL and say the query, you can see Mohit 6. That means it's working here. So this is how we should be able to use a prepared statement. So now we know what are the 7 steps. We know we have to import the package first. We need to use a class.forName function for the for load relational driver. Then we have to create the object of connection interface, for which we require a class called Java Manager .get connection, in which you have to pass 3 parameters. First is the connection string, a username, and a password. Then we have to either we have to use statement or prepare statement. So normally when you know your query, but your query doesn't have more values, you can use statement. But if let's say if your query has some variables, so you can use prepared statement in which you have to pass the query when you create the object. To replace those question mark, we have to use methods like set or set string and set int. To fire a query which will give you some output, we have to use execute query. And to update your table, we need to use execute update. And the last step is optional, which is close. Clear? So this is your JDBC.